So let's get into the actual wudu steps. I have 10 wudu steps. I'm going to go step by step. And when we say wudu steps, there are a few things which are obligatory, okay, which are compulsory. If you do not do that, your wudu is not valid. And those are like bare minimum. There are 5 of those. From the 10, there are 5 obligatory and 5 sunnah. So other 5, so even if you don't do it, your wudu is valid, but you're going to miss out on a lot of rewards. Okay, so you need to know all the 10 steps by heart and put into practice, inshallah. So let's get into the first step. So what's the first step, by the way? Now somebody said before, niyyah, intention. And this is, by the way, one of the 10, and this is obligatory. This is mandatory, compulsory. If you do not have intention, then you do not have wudu. Example. I start to wash my hands and wash my face, and then I realize, I did 2 things. Why don't I just complete my wudu? Just let's make it wudu. I'm already halfway there. So now you're making intention in the middle, right? You didn't start the wudu, you didn't make the intention before you started washing your hands. So that's the reason your wudu will be invalid, because you didn't start the steps. You missed one part. Your wudu, washing your face, as we'll see, is obligatory, and that was not part of the intention. So very first step, before you even start your wudu, before you touch your water, you make intention in your heart. And by the way, this it's in the heart, it's not verbally said. Some people have this, they just say, nawaitu taharatul wudu. They have this verbal statements. There is no such thing. There's no hadith. You have the intention in your heart. You don't have to verbally say it. And what is the meaning of intention really? It's basically, it means you have the desire in your heart that I want to do wudu. That's what it is, intention. And this is again this one hadith everybody should know, the famous hadith of Umar radiallahu anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, actions are but by intentions. And this step, as I said, it is obligatory. And sometimes people do it out of habit. Some scholars said that it is okay. So, but intention, you should know that this is very, very important. Many people are not serious. Some people just do it and say, okay, I think I did wudu, so let's make it wudu. So that's not how it works. So let's go at second step. What is the second step? Finally, we come to Bismillah after 3 attempts. Okay, Bismillah. So that's basically, there is no dua before starting of wudu. This is the only dua that we find from hadith, authentic ones. So that's the only thing you need to say, Bismillah. And the scholars said that most of them, like Imam Hanafi, Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, even Imam Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullah, they said that it is sunnah, it is not obligatory. Some scholars said that it is compulsory to say Bismillah, and if you don't say Bismillah, your wudu is not valid. Some people say that. I think Hanbalis, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, they say that they're very serious about it. You have to say Bismillah. And because they say that there is some hadith which mentions that there is no wudu for the person who does not mention the name of Allah. They quote this hadith, but the other scholar said that there is like little weakness in the hadith, so we don't have to compulsorily say. And rather they say that even if this hadith was correct, it basically means that there is no perfect wudu for the one who does not mention the name of Allah. So if it's sunnah, it doesn't mean that we miss it, brothers. This is very important. No, I was debating if I should mention or split it into obligatory or sunnah or not, because some people are going to say, oh, this is sunnah, we don't have to do this step, I'll just do obligatory. That's why I was fearing it, but you should know it because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us this way. And when you teach others, that I see many people, they jump to other brothers and say, brother, your wudu is not valid. He himself doesn't know what is obligatory and what is sunnah, and he tells people going around that your wudu is not valid. So before we say things like that, we should learn really what is wudu actually. So, okay, one thing. Okay, you are in the bathroom, right? You are in the bathroom. You usually make wudu in the bathroom. Can we say Bismillah in the bathroom? Can we take the name of Allah in the place like bathroom? Okay, there are 3 places that you should know, okay? First thing is the place where people defecate, right? The toilet bowl, that is like first place. Second place is within the bathroom or the wash area, but it is inside the bathroom still, okay? And the third place is outside the bathroom. Now, if you are on the toilet bowl, you cannot say anything related to the name of Allah or anything related to Allah. You cannot reply to a salam. You cannot, if you sneeze, alhamdulillah, you cannot say when you are on the toilet bowl. And, you cannot recite Quran or anything related to that. If you are in the second spot, which is not on the toilet bowl, but you are, like, for example, in the sink or wash area or anything like that, in this particular case, you cannot say it loudly, but you can say it in your heart. Clear? Difference between first and second. You cannot say it loudly. You have to say it in your heart. And the third place is obviously outside the bathroom. You can say whatever you want. Recite the whole Quran, no matter, no problem. Okay? And, okay, let's go to the next step. Washing of hands. Washing of hands. So washing, it just means flow of water, okay? The water has to flow. You don't have to necessarily rub it. Even if somebody puts water in a container, it's considered washing. But if somebody wants to rub, that's okay. But the idea here is that your body part, it has to be completely wet. It should be wet. It cannot be dry. If it is dry, then it is not washing. It's basically transferring of water or whatever. Okay? That's the common across all the parts that we are going to discuss for wudu. Any area cannot remain dry. That's what is called washing. And it's not wiping, by the way. Wiping is different. Okay? Wiping, you wipe like this. Some parts might be wet. Some parts might still be dry. Okay? Wash means everything should be wet. Okay, how many times? Obviously, every kids also know this. You have to wash it 3 times. That's the sunnah. Now, but many people don't know few things when we say 3 times. Okay, and by the way, this is a sunnah step. It's not an obligatory step. This is a sunnah step. So somebody misses this, the wudu is still valid, but he has to make it up when he's washing his arms. So we're going to come to that. But the 3 times. Sunnah is 3 times. If somebody does only 1, his wudu is still accepted, but he's going to miss out on the rewards of perfect wudu. Okay? So don't do less than 3, please. Just because Brother Najib said, I'll do only 1. No, I'm going to be in trouble. So please continue to do it 3 times. Okay? I don't want you to miss out on a lot of rewards. Doing more than 3, is it okay, brothers? Is it okay? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, look at this, how serious it is. Many people don't know this. He said, he basically showed how to make wudu to a Bedouin, and then he said, and whoever does more than this, he has transgressed the limits and wronged himself. Okay? He has transgressed the limits and wronged himself. Whoever does more than that. Okay? So we cannot do more than 3. Now immediately 4 or 5 questions pop up in your head. Oh, Brother Najib, first thing, I think I did wudu, I washed it 3 times, but I forgot, I'm not completely sure whether it was 2 times or 3 times. Now if I do one additional thing, it will be 4 times, and this hadith is very serious. What should I do? Okay? So the basic fiqh ruling here is that when you have doubts in 2 things, you always take the lower value. This applies to every fiqh ruling in Islam, most of it at least. Okay? So you consider it as 2, and then you make the third one, and even if it turns out to be 4th, inshallah you will not be sinning, or you will not be asked for it. Now the other thing that people ask is, brother, I have a lot of mud or grease or oil, whatever, I have to wash more than 3 times. So what should we do? So the scholars said that you should do it before you even start your wudu. All the extra parts which will take more time, soap or all those things, you do it before you start your wudu. While during your wudu, you should not exceed 3. You should know that, how much it will take to clean it. Okay. And what if somebody unintentionally ended up doing 4 times? He was not paying attention and he did 4 times. Is that okay? Unintentional, it's okay, but somebody says, no, I'm going to do it exactly 4 because I think it is better. I think it's more cleaner. If somebody does that, he is going to be in trouble because Rasulullah ﷺ's warning is very serious here. And it's a sahih hadith. It's very highly rated, authentic hadith. Yes, brother?
Yeah. Funny question. We have, we have a habit of doing the wudu under running water in faucet.
Mm-hmm.
It's water is right. For instance, here we are doing wudu, you're washing our feet, and we're just putting our feet under the running faucet. Mm-hmm. So what time duration is considered to be 1, 2, 3?
When, yeah, that's a good question. Okay, just consider the hands here, right? So one time, a complete cycle out of 3, the first, it will be considered one full washing if everything becomes wet. Some people just wash quickly, first 2 times they just wash fingers, and the third time they say, okay, I have to wash the whole thing. So that's only counted as 1 attempt. Okay. So if you want to get the rewards of all the sunnahs, then in this case you have to wash fully. And if you wash fully, everything gets wet, that is counted 1. Similarly, you have to do it 3 times. And which hand first? Right hand. Why? What's the proof? Do we have any hadith? That's a basic, general hadith basically in many Musnad Ahmad, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, that he said that when you clothe or wash yourself, begin with your right hand side. Okay, so that applies to everything. Now, ring. What should we do about the ring? Do I need to remove it or it's just okay?
It's okay.
The scholars, they said that hands, no part can remain dry. Okay, so some people might wear super loose ring and water can go through. That's okay. Like Rasulullah ﷺ's ring used to be loose, so he didn't remove it. But if your water is not going inside your fingers, inside the place where the ring you're wearing, then that's a problem. So you have to maybe move up and down and let the water go, and that should be enough, inshallah. So about the sisters, nail polish, their wudu, is wudu valid if they wear or they have nail polish? Sister wished if it was okay, right? Yeah, the answer is no, it is not valid. And we asked the question, why? Why is not valid? What's so big deal about nail polish? See, the thing is, first of all, nails are part of the wrists, okay? Nails are parts of the hands. So this is also considered your wrist. The nails are part of the wrist, okay? So this has to be wet. The problem with nail polish is it blocks the water, okay? It blocks the water. The water doesn't reach the skin of the nail. Sorry? Henna is okay, that's right. Henna is okay, but not the solid henna, okay? You have to dry it, remove it, and then the coloring is okay because water still reaches there, okay? Same thing with the paints, brother. For example, some brothers do a painting of their house. Some brothers, I see, they are so careless that, they have some little paint here and there and they make wudu and they start salah. I mean, paint blocks water. You have to remove it somehow, okay? Many people don't notice the small things, but your wudu is not going to be valid, okay? Anything, not just the paint or nail polish, but anything that will block it, it's not sufficient. The wudu is not sufficient. We're going to talk about some exceptions, medical exceptions about plaster and all those things later, inshallah.
What about if you have like a wound or something?
Yeah, exactly. Let me talk about it. If you have a wound or something, then you can just wipe over it. It doesn't have to, because it's a situation of necessity here. Okay? But all these water blockers, I call them, you have to get rid of it. Okay? Whatever it is. Rinsing of mouth. In Arabic, this is called nadnada. And this is proved from hadith as well, that when one performs ablution, he should rinse his mouth. And some scholars said that it is okay to use miswak in this step as well. Like Ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullah used to say that you can use wudu exactly at this point. But you can use it before also. But do you need to gargle? Do you need to gargle? You don't need to, because it's not proven from hadith. You don't have to go all that extreme in washing. And also, do you have to use your fingers to clean? It is not necessary. Again, it's not proven. But you have to rinse it well. You have to take a good amount of water in your hands, in your mouth, and then move across your cheeks and maybe use tongue inside it, so that inshallah should be sufficient. You should make it like forceful, little forceful, not just like touch it, touch your cheeks, but make it forceful and then blow it out. Sorry? How much what? Unless you're fasting, yeah, you should not use force. You should, unless otherwise it will go down your throat. Yeah, yeah.
So gargling is not proven from hadith?
Yes, it's not.
So when the Prophet said it says do it forcefully, does that mean he gargles? Like when you put it in the mouth?
It's in the cheeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's in the cheeks forcefully. And what if I make wudu and I come for salah, and then I notice that there's some food particles inside my mouth. Probably I didn't do wudu properly. So do I need to make wudu again? You don't need to, because either ways, brother, this is a sunnah step and you get a lot of rewards for doing it. But if something does remain in your mouth, inshallah, your wudu is okay. But you should try your best to make good rinsing of your mouth. So let's see the next one, rinsing nose. And this, in Arabic, it's called istinshaq. And which hand should we use while rinsing the nose? So you put the water with your left hand?
With the right hand.
Okay, so there are, when we rinse the nose, there are two steps. First is the taking in of water, and the second thing is taking you're blowing it out. Okay, so you use both the hands. First step is with your right, second step is with your left. Okay, and most people don't get it, that when we say rinsing the nose, especially children, what they do is take the water, they touch their nose, that's it. That's called rinsing the nose. Touching is not considered rinsing nose, okay? Rinsing means you have to sniff the water inside. Sniff it inside, okay? So your nose needs to get cleaned. If you it's like inhaling water inside, but of course if you do it very strongly, it's going to hurt you. But little bit sniffing is okay, and it's a proven fact that if you inhale it or sniff it, and if you're not used to it, if it hurts even just in the beginning. After that, it becomes your habit. It doesn't hurt. Everybody knows this. Okay, so make it a habit, and this is also again one of the steps that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that do it a little bit more, means exaggerate in this one. Do it like little forcefully. Okay, so some scholars say that even if it pains, you should continue. But don't worry, when it becomes a practice, you don't really notice it. Start with little bit, but please just don't touch your nose and water into your nose. It's not sufficient. Yeah.
But if you're fasting, then you just touch your nose, right? With the water?
Yeah, it should not go too deeply. So you still have to clean the nose, but it should not go inside.
For fasting, you can do it like normal, from what we.
You have to do a little bit lesser than what you generally do.
Because I mean,
So the point here is that if you do very excessively, it will go inside your throat. That's the whole point.
Right. So
And when you actually blow it, use your left hand. Okay, use your left hand and take all the impurities out of your nose. And okay, and one thing that people do not know about this step is combining mouth and nose rinsing. Okay. Usually from the ahadith that we see, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to take a handful of water and he used to do rinsing of mouth and rinsing of nose as one step. Okay, many people don't know this. So this is a sunnah. Okay, you take like full hand water, and then you take half of it in your mouth and half of it for rinsing your nose. This is from the sunnah, and nadnada and istinsha at the same time. Okay, and this is proved from many ahadith. So separating it out into two actions, it's okay, but you should not altogether abandon that other sunnah which was very often done by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and this is also from Sahih al-Bukhari as well. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that do wudu properly, rub between the fingers and go to some length when rinsing the nose unless you're fasting. Okay, go to some length when rinsing the nose. So he said some length, go extra. But if you're fasting, do not go that extra stuff. Okay, do a little bit less. Okay, that's from Abu Dawud and it's an authentic hadith. And by the way, I think I forgot one thing. When you are washing your hands, you should do one thing. What is that thing that I forgot? You should do it between the fingers. People don't do it. It's run your hands between your fingers. You know, the whole point is that your space between the fingers, this should get wet. You can do it anyway. Do it like this or whatever. Some people just make it like a strict rule that it has to be like this, like this. But we have to make it very simple, brothers, because whatever hadith we have, you should take it, and that's how we should utilize it. And this hadith that I just mentioned, that's what it states, that rub between the fingers. That's the sunnah for Rasulullah. If somebody does not do this, is his wudu invalid? No, as long as it's wet, it's okay. But we follow the sunnah, we get the rewards, and we run between our fingers. Till now, we had 5 steps, and out of these 5 steps, how many were obligatory and how many were sunnah? One was obligatory and 4 is sunnah. Until this point, everything is sunnah except the first one, but now onwards, everything is going to be obligatory except the last one, which we'll see. Washing face. So this is obligatory, as I said. Now, what exactly is the meaning of washing face? What exactly face mean? So face, you know, when you stand in front of somebody, what exactly do you see? The extent of the face, that's what is called the face. Okay. However, in face, ears are not included. Okay, ears are not included, and it's from forehead to chin. Now, you have to make sure that, you know, at the ends of your face, so not the ear, of course, but before ear, you have to make sure that these get washed as well. Now, there are many things. So the sunnahs, the same sunnahs apply here. You have to wash it 3 times. But sometimes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would wash it just 1 time. But the perfect wudu that he did and that he told us to do is 3 times. Okay. Now, which hand should we use while washing our face? Sunnah is to use both hands. If I use just one hand, is my wudu invalid? Should I tell people your wudu is not valid? No, you cannot say that, because hadith, according to the hadith, you have to just get it wet somehow. You use 1 hand, 2 hands, or if you have 3 hands, use 3 hands. But you have to get it wet. Okay. But sunnah is to use 2 hands. Okay. What about Eyelashes and eyebrows.
Yes.
You have to make it wet,
Yes.
or do you have to wipe it or wash it?
Wash it.
You have to wash it. It has to be wet. Thick beard is an exception. Okay, the beard is part of the face, and so is mustache. But mustache, you have to make it. You have to wash it. But thick beard, you have to wash just the beard. You don't have to. Water doesn't have to reach the skin. You just run the water through your beard, and you just take your fingers and go, inside your beard. Yeah, exactly. As the Sheikh is saying, just as you do run the fingers while washing your wrist, same thing with the beard. You just let it go, but the skin doesn't have to get wet. So some people who have a pencil-sized beard, as we say, or very thin beard, it doesn't apply. The skin is visible, so they have to make sure the water reaches the skin. Okay, that is very important. Otherwise, wudu will not be valid. And this is a serious step, because if you don't do it correctly, your wudu is in trouble. You can get away with nose and rinsing your mouth, but if you make a mistake here, your wudu is in trouble. Okay. Now we start from the top to the bottom for obvious reasons. We don't go opposite way, unless. Oh, never mind. What about? Okay, sisters. What about lipstick? What about if you have makeup? What do you need to do?
Take it off.
So the principle is again the same. What's the principle that we mentioned?
Face gotta get wet.
It has to be permeable, okay? The water has to get in the skin. It has to touch the skin. If you are wearing a lipstick and you know it's not permeable, water cannot go in, then wudu is not going to be valid. You have to know that. And same thing with anything. If you have even a paint here, accidentally while painting it falls off, you have to remove it first and then do wudu.
So, lipstick is not permeable?
I heard these days they come up with permeable lipsticks. I've never heard it, but you have to find it out exactly what lipstick that is, and the principle is what I'm going to mention, because I'm not going to count all 10 things that's going to make wudu invalid. The principle is water should reach the skin. And some people all do like this, they, at the ends of their eyes, they do like this while washing the face. Is it necessary? Well, if you are washing your face with two hands, this will automatically cover, unless you have like secretion or some people get liquid secretion often. So in that case, you do that, but otherwise it's not necessary. Okay. Did I miss anything else? Sideburns also is included, brothers. Don't miss the sideburns. Make it wet. And what else? So I think, what about eyes, inside the eyes? Do I have to take water and like get it in? It's part of the face. So yeah, we don't have to do.
Both open, just splash your face.
No. The sunnah is just close your eyes and let it go. So you don't have to get the water inside your eyes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I heard some sisters, I don't know, they said to do the wudu, then put the nail polish, and then keep doing a masa after that.
No, masa is not applicable. Yeah, this is not applicable. There are going to be few parts which we can do masa over. We are going to talk about it, but this nail polish is not at all a necessity. It's just a luxurious thing. It's not a necessity thing, so it doesn't apply. We're going to talk about turbans. We're going to talk about hijab. We're going to talk about socks, leather socks, shoes. We're going to talk about plasters and everything, but this is not one of them. Okay, inshallah. So let's start the 7th step, washing of arms. Okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this particular step in Holy Quran and Surah Al-Ma'idah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, O you who believe, when you stand for salah, when you stand for your salah, then you wash your faces. Then you wash your faces. فَغُسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. Wujuh means face. So this is the step that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. And by the way, whatever is mentioned in Quran by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is obligatory. It is counted among obligatory steps. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned 4 steps in this verse, and this is one of those. So if somebody misses washing of face or washing of arms, then his wudu is not valid. And this particular step, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wa aydiyakum. Aydiyakum means your hands. Okay. Now, when we say washing your hands, it includes your arms, it includes your elbows as well. So this region, it includes as well. So this region has to be washed. Okay. And the wrists, the third step that we said, you have to wash your hands, this wrists. So this are included in that whole hand. Okay. So even though your arms are from here to here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it as aydiyakum, which includes everything starting from this tip and until the elbows are counted. If you exclude elbows, then your wudu is not valid. It's 0. Your salah will not be valid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying ilal marafiq, specifically mentioning till your elbow. So this is a command. So we have to do it, and anybody missing it will not, wudu will not be accepted. So some of you might say, I already washed my hands. Do I need to wash again in this step? So most of the scholars said that you don't have to wash again since you already did this in this particular part. But if you do it, it's better. Okay, you again start from here and up to here, and then also run fingers again. That is also fine. And just like other parts, which hands first? Right hands. What about the face? When you wash your face, which side first? Sorry? There is no right or left with the face, right? So you do it together with both of your hands. Okay. So you have to remember it. And how many times? 3 times. So if you see a brother just doing it 1 time, do we stop him and say, brother, your wudu is not valid? No, we don't say it, because doing it 3 times is sunnah. So wudu is still valid. For example, if salah has already started, right? You are missing out on 4th salah and you know you don't have wudu, so you rush to making wudu downstairs, for example. And then you say, I will follow all the sunnah steps that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to follow. So if you do all those steps, maybe you'll miss the entire salah. So you have to do it a little faster, your wudu. So you cannot sacrifice your fard at the expense of sunnah. So this principle you have to remember. Do not sacrifice your fard in order to get the rewards of sunnah. Fard is more important. Let me repeat what I said last week. When I said wash 3 times, some people want to do it like very fast and they think they'll get all the rewards. What they do is like they do 1, 2, and 3rd step they do the whole elbow. So it's only counted 1 if they do the whole thing. Okay, elbows should be done in the very first step itself. If elbows is excluded, then it is not counted as your first attempt. That is 1. And then I have here, what happens if somebody has a watch or somebody has a bracelet and something like that? Is it compulsory to remove the watch? Or is it okay just to wear it and do over top of it? So the answer to this is, the basic rule here is that all your hand, your body part, this should be wet. Somehow it should be wet. Okay? So you can continue to wear the watch and move the watch up and down and then make the water go through. You don't have to compulsorily remove the watch, but if you make sure that it's wet, that's fine. If any part, little bit part is also dry, then you are in trouble. And this is very serious step because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it as one of the steps which is obligatory, right? The verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah. So if you miss this, your salah will not be valid, your wudu will not be valid. So nothing can remain. You can be little bit, lenient with washing of, rinsing of your nose and rinsing your mouth because that's a sunnah step. But this is very, very serious issue. If you miss this, your salah will not be valid. And now a question here: can I wash up to my shoulders? Is it permissible for me to wash until my shoulders, up to here? The answer for this is yes, you can wash. And what's the evidence? Anything we say, we need proof, otherwise you won't do it. So even though Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that last time we mentioned that the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Abu Dawud, that whoever does more than this, he has transgressed the limits and wronged himself, right? So that's a basic rule. You cannot do that. That's a serious warning. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made an exception. He said, my nation will come on the day of judgment with bright streaks of light. So we mentioned that their body parts will be glowing with the light, right? That's how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will recognize most of us and give the water at Kawthar. He said, if one can lengthen his streaks of light, he should do so. And this is a very sahih hadith directly from Al-Bukhari, Sahih Al-Bukhari. If one can lengthen his streak of light, he should do so. So Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, the companion who narrated the most of the hadith, that was his practice. He used to, whenever he used to make wudu, he used to make until he reached the shoulders. And when other Sahaba saw that, they asked him, why do you do this? So he used to say, this is the extent of embellishment, this is the extent of decoration, this is like the ornament. So he wanted to have this bright light on the day of judgment and shining up to here. So that's why he said that it is okay. So when we have to always look how the Sahaba understood the statements of Rasulullah. We cannot go on extending this whatever we like. We have to see, okay, what all extensions are allowed. So we find this shoulder. So some of you cannot say that, okay, washing face, I'm going to extend my light and do it up to my chest. You cannot do that because we don't have the proof, okay? But there are two things that are mentioned. One of them is up to the shoulders. That is there. Now, we'll take questions at the end of every slide, okay? Bandage and plaster, do you have any medical reason? If you are injured, even for that matter, you're playing basketball and you got injured and it's bleeding very heavily or it's cut very hard and you want to pray your salah, now you go back down and make wudu. Now you know that if you put water at that injury, it's going to hurt very severely. You know that. And you also know that it's going to delay your recovery. Those situations can happen. So, and some people might have a bandage or a plaster, whatever it is. So, is it okay for you to exclude that part? So, what do you need to do? So, there are three things that you can do. First thing is to wash it if you know that it's not going to harm you. Okay, if it is just simple bit of thing, you have to decide it. You can't just say, oh, I got a simple cut, I'm going to take the license and just wipe it. You can't do that. You have to know that it is going to harm you or delay your recovery. So that's first thing. You can wash it. But if that is not possible, the second thing you can do is wipe over it. Okay? Just like you wipe your head or your socks, that's how you have to do. Wipe it on your plaster or your injury. But sometimes even wiping can be dangerous. So wiping is going to be with your wet hands and you know that water is going to harm your body. So what do? In that particular case, the scholar said if even wiping is dangerous, you just make tayammum over your whatever place of injuries. It can be face as well. You just take the dirt and then go over it. We are going to discuss tayammum in detail, but just giving you heads up. Even you might be washing all the parts, but maybe just because of the injury, you are doing tayammum to only that particular part. Some scholars said that, for example, if you can wash your hands before going to a hospital, for example, you know that you're going to have plaster in your hand before going to the hospital, it is better that you be in a state of wudu and wash it and then have plaster, so that you can do wiping easily later on. That's preferred, but if you don't have time, if you're in a lot of pain, you don't have to do wudu before putting plaster on your hands. So the basic rule here is that you should try your best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Holy Quran, do as much as you can. Right? So do as much as you can. So don't go to the last step immediately. Try which one I can do the most. The same principle. If you cannot pray standing, you should lie down on bed. No, you should sit down. So don't jump to the final thing. See what the best you can do. Okay. Now next thing. Step number 8. Wiping of head. Again, this is the same verse that I recited. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَمْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ. Masah. Okay, this is called masah. وَأَمْسَحُوا, wipe. بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ, your head. Okay. Now, is this obligatory or sunnah? It's obligatory. Why? Because it's a command in Quran. Just what I read, it is from Quran. Okay. Now, in the Quran, this verse, it says wiping. Can we do washing? Is it okay to wash? Is it better? Is washing better, or we have to stick to wiping? We cannot wash. We cannot wash. We have to only wipe. If you wash, then you will fall under that hadith that I mentioned. The Rasulullah ﷺ said, you have transgressed the limit and committed wrong. Okay? So you have to be very careful. Yeah, washing looks much better, much pure, but you're basically saying that I know better than Rasulullah ﷺ, washing is better. No, that's a serious thing. Okay? Now, what exactly this step is that after you're done with your hands, you take fresh water. Okay, you take fresh water and you put your hands in the front of your head, and then you go all the way to the back, and then you come back to the front where you started. This is step number 1. And step number 2 is you take these 2 fingers, index finger and thumb, and you use the index finger in the front ear grooves. Okay, wherever the grooves is, you go over it, and then the thumb, you go back of your ears. That's it. It's that simple. Okay. Again, you start from the front of the head, go back, and then come front again. These 2 fingers do in the ear grooves, and then with the thumb you go like this. That's the wiping of the head. Now, question. When you are doing the second part, which is the ears, do you need to take fresh water, or can you continue with the fresh water? Can you continue with where you left with the first part? So is it better to take fresh water? No. So you do it as a single step, okay? Otherwise you would break this down into 2 steps if it was fresh water, okay? So now, how many times do we have to do, or can we do this 3 times? Is it okay to do 3 times, or it must be 1 time? So some brother, you'll see that, okay, I know it's 1 time, but I want to get more reward, so I'll do 3 times. Should we let him go?
Yes.
No, we can't. We have to only, we can only do it 1 time. Again, that hadith will come into effect. Whoever does more than this has transgressed the limits and wronged himself. It's very serious. So now you can tell the brother, this is wrong, because we have the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu. Because all the hadith we have, 9-10 hadith about wudu, he never did more than once. Okay? We have to ask for proof. If we can do more than one, show us the proof. There is no proof, so we cannot do it. Let me finish this, yeah. And then, okay, next one is, if I have long hair, do I need to wipe all the way up to here, or just head? So the verse from the Holy Quran, it doesn't say hair. What does it say? Head. Okay, so that's what you have to remember. All right. Now, is it okay if I do just a little bit here and then ears? Now, there is some difference of opinion. Now, like, this is a fiqh topic, right? And fiqh is unlike Aqidah. Brother Abdul Rahman, when he was doing Aqidah, everything is straightforward. We don't have difference of opinion in Aqidah, okay? But in fiqh, there are some difference of opinion. All those madahib that you hear, there are some differences. So we are try to be a little bit lenient. We will see like what is the best opinion based on evidences. And I will tell you based on what I learned from my scholars and my research and whatever notes I have that I took from my scholars, I will try to give you what the best thing is. So like Imam Shafi'i, rahmatullah alayh, his followers, they consider as 3 strands of hair if you do, it is sufficient. Okay? So this is not a strong opinion, but that was his opinion and we respect his opinion. So if you go for Vietnam, for example, one of our shuyukh said that when you see the people making wudu, they will just do like this and then they wash their hands. That's how simple their wudu is. But the scholars, they said that you have to do the whole head. Okay, that's like the strongest opinion it seems. And Imam Abu Hanifa, he was fine even with a quarter of the head. So if there are difference of opinions, you should always go for the safe side always. Okay, and the safer side is what? Do the whole head. It doesn't take more than a second, right? So just do it. So, but why I'm mentioning all these differences is that I always see people getting into fight. Right? People say, oh, you did only half or quarter of your head, your wudu is not valid. So before saying something, you should know, okay, is there a difference of opinion, then I'll stay away from it. Okay, so but if somebody is not doing ankles, for example, then we stop him and then say, okay, there is no difference of opinion on that. It's you have to do ankles. Okay, and elbows. Sorry. Now, what about ears? Is ears necessary or is it a sunnah step? So most of the scholars, they mentioned that they referred to this hadith where in Ibn Majah they said the Rasulullah ﷺ said that the ears are part of the head. The ears are part of the head. Okay, so you have to do that. It cannot be. It's not a sunnah. It's like compulsory to do that. Some differed, but this is like the strongest opinion. Okay, can you do neck as well? Is it permissible to wipe neck? All the ahadith that we have and all the actions of Sahaba radiallahu anhu, there is no evidence whatsoever that neck is allowed. Even though we saw that hadith that extend your embellishment, extend your lights, none of the Sahaba did it. They always did shoulders and calves, but they always didn't do this step. So we always take religion from either the Prophet ﷺ or the one who understood it better than us. Those are the Sahaba. So they never did it. So in this case, we have to be careful here because again, that hadith is very, very serious, right? Whoever does more than this is transgressed the limits and has committed a sin. So we got to be careful here and just forget about this particular thing, neck. Many people do it. So, some scholars said it's okay, but majority of them said that you should not do this neck. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did wiping of the head in different ways. So we said that you have to start from the front, go back all the way to the head, and then come back to the front. Now, if you see a brother, he starts from the front of the head and then goes back, and then that's it, he does ears. So he doesn't come back all the way to the front. Do we tell him that his wudu is invalid? No, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did that. He did only one time, and sometimes it ruffles your hair, right? When you do like this, some people don't want to spoil their hair, whatever. So It's okay, but the perfect wudu, if you want to get all those perfect rewards that we mentioned 2 weeks ago, then you have to do all this part and this part. Okay?
Is it the second part is sunnah, first part is compulsory?
The first part, this one is obligatory, and the second, coming back here, is sunnah, but ears are compulsory according to majority of the scholars. I'll do this one more step and then I'll take questions, inshallah. If you have hair oil, can you do wipe over your head, or do you have to remove the hair oil or the henna? So you can do wiping over your hair oil, and also sometimes people have henna on their head, right? Somebody who wants to dye their hair, and if it is thick and solid, can they wipe over their hair, or do they have to remove that thick henna? I'm not talking about colored hair. I'm talking about the solid black color henna, whatever it is. Is it okay to wipe over it? The scholars, majority or the strongest opinion of this one is that they said it's okay, and they gave this evidence from Abu Dawud that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did this particular part. When he was in a state of ihram, he wanted to keep his hair together, so he put something which was preventing it from getting dusty. So he applied something on his hair, and that was, he did that and wiped over his head. Now you have to remember that there are two things, washing and wiping, right? When it comes to washing, scholars are very strict, but when it comes to wiping, scholars are, they made leeways, they made it lenient. Okay, so this particular step, even though it's obligatory, there are a lot of leniency in there. Now you will see from this example, turban. If somebody is wearing a turban, can they wipe over their turban? Can they wipe over their turban? We ask for evidence. Do we have something from Quran or Hadith? In this particular case, we have proof from Hadith, and it is in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim as well. So what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? It was reported that one of the Sahabi, he saw a messenger wipe over his turban and shoes. So we're going to cover about the feet later on, but we have evidence, strong evidence that he did wipe over his turban, and this is from Sahih al-Bukhari, meaning that there is no question on weakness of this hadith. It's absolutely straightforward, authentic hadith. And also we have Sahih Muslim. So the two most authentic books cover this issue of wiping over the turban. Now, why do we even need to worry about wiping over the turban? Why don't we just take it off and wipe our head? So if you do that, it's better. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam always showed us that sometimes things become difficult. The whole point is that if things are becoming difficult, life should become easy in this particular case. So sometimes taking off the turban and then putting over again, it might cause difficulty. Even though it's not that difficult, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned few things. Okay, this, there is some leeway, there is some leniency, you can do that. So alhamdulillah, he showed us in one of the cases you can do this, so it's fine. We can take this excuse whenever we want. But if you want to take it off, it's better, no problem, inshallah. So, but again, he did this in two different styles. Sometimes he would just wipe over his turban. Sometimes he would wash the front of the head, the forehead, the front hair, and then wipe over his turban. Both are reported, and it is okay, inshallah. So this one is in Sahih Muslim. Wiping over the first part of the head. And in that particular, if you do that particular wiping of the turban, then obviously you don't have to do ears because it is covered under the turban. Though that was not reported. When he was doing wiping of the turban, he didn't do ears. Now, question, do you need to be in a state of wudu when you wiped over your head? So like if you want to wipe over your turban, do you need to be in a state of wudu before you break your wudu, before you started to make this wudu? So like wiping over the socks, some scholars put that condition that you have to be in a state of wudu when you wear your socks. Same thing for turban, do you have to be in a state of wudu when you wore it? No, the answer is no, it doesn't apply to this one. So even if you didn't make wudu prior to wearing it, it's fine. Now, hijab. Can the same ruling be applied to hijab? Most the scholars that I studied with and the fatwas that I read and the shuyukh that I follow, they said that this analogy will apply to sisters as well. So sisters can wipe over their hijab as well, and they said it is qiyas, it's called analogy. So you have same conditions, same situation, you apply one ruling to the other, and we are not qualified to do it, it's the scholars who do it. So they see the elements which in both the cases, and qiyas has some, in usul al-fiqh, they have some rulings that have to follow, and they said that the conditions match for qiyas, and therefore you can also wipe over your hijab. The sisters have to do. And in this particular country, brothers, we have to understand that sometimes we sisters have to take their hijab out, and the non-mahrams can be there, non-Muslims can be there, so it's a problem. So sometimes we don't have bathrooms, sometimes you're traveling and you're stopping somewhere, you have to make wudu and pray. And sister has to remove her hijab and people are going to see it. You don't have a bathroom or something, you just make wudu. So those conditions, scholars said, if you have these issues, you definitely have to take these excuses. And and also scholars said that if it is like a severe weather and if it is extremely difficult to take it out, you can avail these leniency. That's not a problem. So this is again the opinions that I studied from my scholars, and I'm presenting to you the one which they said is the strongest opinion. So you might have heard some scholars who have said otherwise. You're free to choose or follow whatever you are, but I, based on the research that they have presented me, more than one scholar, they said that this is perfect and this is fine. And in fact, they also said that Salama radiallahu anha, who was she? The wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn al-Mundir, he said that our mother, she used to wipe over her head cover. So this has been reported from the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Head cover here means hijab. Okay, so do we have any questions? Yes, brother. Kufi is not included. Kufi. So the whole reason of turban is that it takes time, difficulty. So kufi is just like one finger, you just take it out. It's not. So let's do the 9th step, the washing of feet. Now, is this mentioned in Quran?
Yes.
Yes, it is mentioned. And it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in that same verse, وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Wash your, it actually says, and your feet to the ankles.
Why?
And actually here it's interesting, as the brother is saying, that you have like, wash your face and your hands. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wipe your head. And then he's used and your feet up to the ankles. Now, it's you can use this hadith in two ways, or this verse in two ways. Is it washing of feet or wiping of the feet? And the scholars, they said that this is one of the eloquence of Quran. It's like balagha. We said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wanted to tell us that it is okay to wash the feet, and in some circumstances you can wipe your feet. So He didn't use the word wash and wipe, He just said and. So in the previous two sequences, He mentioned wash, wipe. So we have wash, wipe, and then fourth one is open. So the scholar said the fourth one, you can apply it for washing and wiping. So this is one of the eloquence of Quran. You'll find this pattern throughout the Quran, by the way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't mention one word explicitly, wash your feet or wipe your feet. It's left open, and that's how scholars derive from this, that it is permissible to wipe under certain circumstances. We will talk about it. And I'll take questions after I finish the last point, inshallah.
I want to ask you one thing.
Yes.
Because I can't able to pick my leg. And because we get a sink over there. Okay, like this way, I can't go more than that.
Right.
So So what can I do? I can just wet the.
Okay, so yeah, in cases of people who are elderly, who are old, and who have problem with their knees, and also pregnant women, for example, right? So they will find it difficult to wash the feet, right? So the scholars said that for these kind of people, they should go for the leniency of wiping over their socks. So these kind of people should wear socks and try to make advantage of that leniency. But no scholar said that it is okay to just wipe over their feet. The best thing they should do is, for example, if you have a swimming pool or if you have a shower, you just put your feet in the swimming pool or whatever, and just that's it. You don't have to go and rub it or wash it. All you have to all you have to make sure is your feet is wet. All the parts from your front to the ankle, this should be wet. As long as you can ensure this is fine. You don't have to touch with your hand or rub it. That is not at all a requirement. But if you are talking about perfect wudu, then yes, you have to do the whole thing as Rasulullah ﷺ did it. And yeah, for washing it in the sink or in other places is going to be extremely difficult. So these people are encouraged to go in the shower area and open the tap or something and put their leg. So that is better. But no scholar said that you have a license and you can just put your wipe your feet over it. That's not permitted by any scholar. Shias do it over their feet because they say that wiping is mentioned in Quran, so we'll just wipe it, because the third one was wiped, so they said fourth one is also wiping, so they wipe it. But we see from hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam why it is not allowed. And we're going to cover that in detail, wiping over the socks, the whole section on it. Okay, let's cover the 3-4 points and then we'll take some more questions, inshallah. So what this step is all talking about is you have to wash until your ankles. Is ankles mentioned in Quran, the word ankles?
No.
It is mentioned. وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Okay, so ankles. So, and if you see these words like that, then it becomes a serious issue. If you miss your ankles, your wudu is gone. Okay, because anything that's mentioned in Quran is obligatory. And the sunnah, the words that we find in a hadith, if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that it is better to do, then it becomes a sunnah. Otherwise, it is obligatory. Now, do you have to wash in between your toes while washing feet? In between your toes, is it necessary? Is it compulsory? Well, it is the practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he used to put his fingers through his other finger and his toes. Okay. The whole point is of this step, nothing can be left dry. So if you wipe it with your fingers between the toes, you're making sure that nothing will be remaining dry. And this is neglectful part, right? But it's possible that while washing it can become wet, so you don't have to necessarily do it, but we want to make sure, since this is an obligatory step, we don't want to take any chances. So we will put our fingers in the toes as well. Now, is it okay if we do this 3 times? Do we have to wash it 3 times? Yes, this is also 3 times. So the only step which is 1 time is wiping over your head. All others are 3 steps, okay? Your intention is not 3 times. Your Bismillah is also not 3 times. So can we wash our feet up to the calves, middle of the leg? So we say, okay, if you're saying calves is okay, what's the proof for it? Show us the proof, otherwise we will not do it. Again, we see what the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, in the same hadith in Musnad Ahmad, he said, this is the extent of embellishment, and he did up to his shoulders and calves. So these 2 are permitted, and inshallah, your light will be, it will be shining on the day of judgment. Okay, so don't get surprised on the day of judgment. My neck is not shining. Why? Because it's not mentioned in the hadith. Your chest will not shine. Your other parts will not shine, because wudu parts are fixed. Okay, so even if you do it, it's not going to shine. Allahu Alam. And if I wash my left feet first and then my right feet, Will my wudu be accepted? So the obligatory part, we again go back to the verse that is like compulsory thing. So all we need to take care is, are my feet wet? If you make sure this is done, then your wudu is valid. So some people make it very tough. Yes, sunnah is first you do right and then left. That is sunnah, there's no doubt about it, and that's the perfect wudu. But some people try to make so difficult wudu. You have to start from the front and then do the left part first and then the middle part and then right. So they introduce a lot of rules. And you have to, whenever you're washing your hands, you have to do this one first and this one first. So there's nothing like that in hadith. So make wudu simple, because Rasulullah ﷺ didn't specify that you exactly have to follow the same coordinates that I'm moving my hands. So that kind of thing is not there. So this is fine, inshallah. Wiping over the socks or shoes, is it permissible? There's a whole section of it. I don't want to start talking about it because it's going to take time. I want to complete the wudu part and then I will go over it later on, maybe next week inshallah, but this is going to take time. But in short, yes, as we see in the hadith that Rasulullah ﷺ, it's mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari that he wiped over his shoes or socks. We see this hadith. What are the exceptions? Are there difference of opinions? Why do we have difference of opinion? Which is the strongest one? And what percentage of scholars say this? We are all going to talk about it next week, inshallah. Okay, so 9 out of 10. Is there something missing? What's 10? What's the 10th one? Is it missing? Yes, Abdullah.
After wudu, ashhadu an la ilaha.
MashaAllah. Very good. May Allah increase you in knowledge. So this is the dua that we make immediately after we wash our feet. So I put this as one of the steps of wudu. And this is a sunnah step. If somebody doesn't make dua, is his wudu valid? Yes, it is valid, but he's going to miss out on all the rewards. Why? Because Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned this, that whoever does this wudu properly and he does it well, and then he says this dua, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I hope all of you know the meaning of this, right? You should know as a Muslim. Okay, so if you say this, what is Rasulullah ﷺ saying? Gates of paradise will be opened to him. All the 8 gates of paradise will be opened to him, and he may enter through whichever of them he wishes. This is a very, very big reward. It's not a simple thing, brothers. And now you have to see, wow, it's such a big thing. Wow, I'm going to go to Jannah so easily. And but Rasulullah ﷺ put 2 conditions on top of it. What did he say? You have to do it properly and do it well. Now we have to ask the question, are we doing wudu properly? Oh, Brother Najib said it is okay to wash the hands one time, so it's okay. Then you're going to miss out on the rewards of this one. You have to do it perfectly. The way you see in Rasulullah ﷺ's hadith, that's how you have to do it. Okay? So some people, for example, in nose, right? So they are very negligent about it. They just do a little bit and that's it. They think their wudu is perfect. No. As I said last time, you have to exaggerate a little bit. That's how your wudu becomes perfect. Clean the nose properly. So people miss on this. So inshallah, if you follow all the steps I mentioned, inshallah the gates of paradise will be open to you. And on the day of judgment you will be surprised. Subhanallah, why are all the gates being opened for me? What did I do? And you will be told, inshallah, that you used to do wudu very nicely. So remember this hadith, okay? Now, there's also one other hadith wherein this dua is also mentioned. Allahumma ja'alni min at-tawabin wa ja'alni min al-mutatahhirin. O Allah, make me among the people who repent and also make me among those who are pure, who purify themselves. So this is a dua basically saying that, oh Allah, clean me physically and spiritually as well. Mutatahhirin. As you mentioned, it is both spiritual and physical. And you also want to make sure you don't have any sins left as well. So all the sins that are there, you will be forgiven. So there is a hadith to this effect as well. That your there's one more thing that I want to mention here is that some people while doing this dua, they raise their finger. Did you notice it?
Yeah, I did.
So is it okay to do that?
Towards the sky.
Towards the sky, yeah. Some people do it. So the scholars mentioned this, and they said, especially Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, they said that there is no evidence for this action. Perhaps some people try to use the tashahhud when we say the same dua. They said, oh, we do it in tashahhud, so let's do it in wudu as well. So that's how they put analogy. So whenever we do analogy, it's left to the scholars to decide it. They are the ones who say, okay, is it valid or not? Is it a valid analogy? And they said, no, the conditions don't pass, so we cannot do that. So maybe some people do it, some scholars said it, but it's not a serious thing, but you should not do it because it's not found in a hadith. Some people, what they do is, they have some dua for each step. So washing their face, they have some dua. Washing their arms, they have some dua. So is it okay to do that duas? No, you cannot do that. There is not found in any hadith books. Maybe there are some fabricated hadith, but it's not authentic enough to do that. So we should not do. However, there are some other duas for after the wudu. I mentioned two of them. There's another one reported by Abu Musa al-Ashari. So you'll find this in the dua books. But this is, inshallah, sufficient.